He's back. Can you establish context? Go ahead.
So this is Steven's response to the video that was put out by the Daily Wire.
Thank you. So Steven had put out a video of Daily Wire's.
No, he put out an anonymous video. He didn't. He didn't name names. He wasn't going to put anybody on blast.
Most people did figure it out, though. A lot of people did figure it out. But Daily Wire came back and say, "Okay, we're gonna address some of this stuff," and they spoke. Steven Crowder is now back with another response video to the response of Daily Wire's video. Is that right?
Yeah, they put themselves on blast and decided to be like, "Hey, yeah, it was us." And because of that, he's like, all right, you want to play hardball. You want to go down this path. We're going to do this.
Okay.
This is because this is how Steven Crowder rolls. He doesn't hold back. He doesn't pull punches.
All right. Here we are.
They don't get deals that...
They can be wage slaves for a little bit. Come over and make a salary and grow their brand. They can be wage slaves for a little bit. They can be wage slaves for a little bit.
God bless the talk boy. Those things are worth like $5,000 now. It's an expensive gag. So didn't want to have to do this, but Daily Wire outed themselves very, very quickly. And sure enough, if you see all of the people who work there, some of whom I have relationships with, they immediately tried to make this all about money. Here's the problem. There are a few problems, and I'll go through with some receipts. Everything that was said about negotiations, how they transpired, beyond the numerical value, which is true, and I'll get to, everything else is untrue. I don't really want to get into that. It's completely irrelevant. Here's why. Go back to the 20-something minute video, 30-minute video. You've never heard me say or write anywhere online that these offers weren't paying enough money. Why? Because it's not about the money. It's kind of unreal to me that the only thing these people can still talk about is the money. The conversation was about conservatism, the movement, and big tech. They keep talking about money. I'm talking about a country. I'm talking about a movement. I'm talking about making a difference. It's not about the money. And Jeremy and the Daily Wire know that. How do I know they know that? Because after, according to what he said, I walked away from the offer. I did place one more call to the Daily Wire, and I made it very, very clear that it wasn't about money. That was not the topic of conversation. There was zero, as they've tried to portray this, miscommunication. It was one last call where the only thing that I asked for, my only demand, was their word, and not even for me, but for other people coming up facing these kinds of contracts. Let's say it's a kid who comes in with 500,000 YouTube subscribers or something like that, 100,000. Let's say some other kid you're paying six figures to come in and do it. There's not the penalty of the demonetization or if they're removed from iTunes, Apple, YouTube.
Yeah, sure there would be.
And here's something else. I was also very measured. I was painstakingly clear in taking myself off the table because it wasn't going to be a right fit. That happens in business all the time. But that we weren't talking about me. We were talking about the futures of other people who could potentially be in that position, that very disconcerting position. No miscommunication. What I'm talking about is you're describing a model for everyone, not just, let's get rid of me here. Everyone, if there's a penalty for being demonetized on YouTube, because your business model requires that be a huge component of it, you need to change your business model or this movement cannot work, Jeremy. I can't imagine my show trying to come up and be beholden to YouTube advertiser guidelines, let alone, honestly, being beholden from a conservative entity with hard strikes, right? Being removed, but let alone being advertiser friendly. We know how broad those guidelines are. They might as well just read, don't say anything offensive and they change them at the drop of a hat.
I'm not suggesting that the guidelines aren't terrible. I'm suggesting that if making money off of those platforms is part of how you're justifying the salary you're paying someone, then or the fee I keep saying salary, the fee you're paying someone, then when those go away, everybody loses money. You can't pay the same amount with less revenue.
How about you create a different business model? Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Of course, telling someone else, hey, change your business model. I get it. I'm in no position to say that unless instead of Monday morning quarterbacking it, here's the thing. I didn't just offer criticisms. I offered a guide on how to, here's the deal. I want to sit at the table with people who, granted, have an immense amount of power and have incredibly deep pockets. That is all true, to be clear. And by the way, it's something that I want to have on our side of the aisle. But I offered a guide on how to do it. It is incumbent, this is what this is about. It is incumbent upon conservatives, if we believe what we say, to uncouple, to divest, if you want to use that term, from big tech, right? For the business models of the movement as we move forward, to not rely on playing ball with Facebook and with YouTube. That is something that we have to move toward. You know that we've been trying to do that here for years. That's why every single show we say, hey, if you can watch on Rumble, please do so. We're not looking to be banned on YouTube, but we certainly won't compromise the truth in order to be advertiser friendly. Here's the thing, Daily Wire, Jeremy, and I really do hope that we can talk at some point. Please, you can pick up the phone. We've done that. We here have found a way to make that work. For proof, see election night, our numbers on Rumble there, and see the numbers on Rumble when we get suspended from YouTube. I think it was 4 times this last year. And I went to great lengths to communicate that to the people at Daily Wire. There can be no next me if the people at the top with the financial resources are doing the bidding. That's being the arm of big tech. What you just said is, well, we have to play ball with big tech if we want to make money. Well, I don't. Why don't you guys follow a model like I have and scale it? That's what I've been doing since 2014. You know that. Has been trying to make sure, which I thought we were all doing, that we can all flip the bird to Silicon Valley. This is saying we need him and you need to play ball. And by the way, before some of you ask for this, look, there's always personal information on phone calls. And for the record, I've recorded 3 people on phone calls in my life. All 3 are involved with big tech. Just to be clear, the entire call transcript has been sent to others to verify without hopefully having to release the whole thing. And I'll be on Tim Pool's show, I believe, on Monday to talk about it. Now, this is something else that's been brought to my attention. That look, some people have been sent out from Daily Wire and have gotten very personal. Obviously, when we released this video, we didn't name names, and I told you there are a lot.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, okay? One Media. The thing is you're not. Did you? I want to know, did you see the first video he put out?
Yeah.
Because in the first video he put out, he actually went over the contract.
Might be new.
About, what these penalties are, what the things are that he would have to do. Number one, he didn't get fired from Blaze. His contract ran out and he decided to go free agent.
Yeah, he didn't like the way the company had direction they were going also.
So he was looking to make a move to another company.
Okay.
In doing so,
show
he was approached by Daily Wire. They made him an offer, and they turned around and sent him a contract that they wanted him to sign that said, well, if you get demonetized, you lose like 75% of your budget.
Okay.
And out of that budget, you have to make all the production, all of that. And we own your social media. We own all of your merchandise. We own basically everything that you are. and that
Yeah.
you've built.
Yeah.
Okay.
I understand that. That tends to be the way it is, though, in those business dealings. That's what
But
those contracts are lined up as. But I
but
think the issue he's having is he wasn't expecting this to come from conservatives.
and that's his point, is it doesn't have to be that way.
It doesn't. Mhm.
And this is where Steven's coming from.
Yeah.
And he wasn't trying to call anybody out in the first video. He was trying to be subtle about it. It was Daily Wire who stood up and said, yeah, it was
We did.
us.
Mhm.
So he didn't call anybody out until now.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this is a good discussion because the Daily Wire might need to do some re-examination of the way they do things from this
Yeah.
point forward. And I think this may be a lesson learned for a lot of other companies,
Media
as well,
companies.
media
Yeah.
companies. So this is not a bad look on conservatives. I think this is good that the conversation is happening, and we're looking for ways to deal with this. But again, he seems also. I think the difference here, Steven Crowder's position seems to be somewhat of a moral position, a position that is driven by love for the people, love for my country, and love for the cause. That's what I'm seeing.
That's
Daily Wire,
that's
Daily
really
Wire,
what it is.
yeah, Daily Wire seems to be
All about the
somewhat
money.
love. Yeah, yeah. The money is like but I can understand because Daily Wire is a much bigger organization that's been in this space for a while, so therefore they have a different way of going about things than what Stephen Crowder's been doing. So they're just not on board with Stephen Crowder's vision of going about this. And I think to a degree, I can agree with both though, because I think Stephen Crowder is right for believe what he believes, standing for what he stands. He knows he's gonna lose money in the process, of course. But the Daily Wire are not completely wrong either. I think the contract need to be, edited somewhat, but they're not completely wrong either because once you're in that space and you know the business and how it runs, I'm not into that space. I don't make these business deals, so I don't know all that stuff. I can
Mhm.
simply say I don't think they doing it just to come at people or to shut you down. I don't think that's necessarily. I don't really agree with that notion.
So basically, if Steven had signed that contract, he wouldn't have been Steven Louder with Crowder anymore.
Well, it seems like
Because
what will happen, Stephen Crowder is gonna be sucked into Daily Wire, completely owned by them.
right,
For a period
and
of
they
time,
would have
4
put
years, $50 million, right?
and they would have put a muzzle on him.
Absolutely. So we will have to control. The man loves his freedom and he loves his people. And to him, I can see he's not about the money though, because I can honestly see that in him. He could make so much more money if he wants to, but he just loves what he does and having the ability to do it and to speak the way he wants to speak without being censored by big tech. So all things considered, Daily Wire cannot handle Stephen Crowder. It's really what it is. Stephen
Mhm.
Crowder is very gifted and he brings something to the table that the Daily Wire wish they could have. At this stage of the game, it's best to keep them divided than to bring them together. It doesn't necessarily mean they're not gonna work because they're both doing the same work. It's just a different field, different field.
But
Of labor. They're doing
the
similar work. I
the
wouldn't say
whole point of what Steven's trying to do here is, and he'll get to it later in the video, is stand up for future generations of
okay,
people
Jamie,
who
have a good
want.
day. Sorry, go ahead.
Have a good night. Have a good day, Jamie. He's trying to stand up for people who want to be like him and do what he does. He wants to be a leader for the next generation.
Mm-hmm.
He
And I
wants
appreciate
the
that. That's actually
people
very.
to follow along, and he doesn't want to do this forever.
I agree. Ella, we just want to thank you for that super chat, super sticker. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, that's great. I mean, I think Steven Crowder, I have a lot of respect for him as a result of this video. I'm so glad I didn't say too much from the first video. I needed
Okay,
more context.
one
But
one Truth Media. That's exactly what this video is. He is being upfront and honest,
mhm,
and he tried to work it out. He's showing that he tried to work it out with them privately over the phone before going public with it, but they weren't willing to work with him.
yeah. Yeah. I agree, and that's what I was hoping they could figure it out somehow without going, But nevertheless, this is good because we need to see this and learn from this and do things differently. And the warning that is putting out for upcoming YouTubers out there, we need to pay attention because when you start gaining ground, by the grace of God, I'm gonna hit 30,000 soon, and I've been doing this for a year. Well, I've been doing this for longer than that, but I started growing up about a year ago, starting last year, January. So we're about to hit 30,000 in a year. I'm very grateful for that. I'm nowhere near this, but if I were to give it a contract now, having heard this debate, I have to think twice. Because oftentimes you look at the money, you're like, oh, yeah, man, good money. Yeah, great, great. But when you take in consideration liability, insurances, the people you are paying, this and that and the other, when you consider all of these factors, you realize it's not that much after all. It's only a little bit of money. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have money. You're gonna live pretty nice. But when you realize what you have to sacrifice to get there, and who you have to bow the knees to, big tech and so like, I'm not sure if we should have done that.
And to address David Ikes, in the contract, it stated that out of what they were going to pay him, he had to pay all the production costs for his production and still put on a certain number of shows, do X number of ad reads per show.
I heard 192 shows.
Yeah, and do 4 ad reads per show, which Steven has made it a mission statement to only do 1 ad read per show.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that right there goes against everything he said. And like, he didn't misrepresent anything.
Yeah.
I
think it's good. The Daily Wire has been this behemoth when it comes to they've been so big and they have not been challenged by any other conservative to this degree. I think it's good for them. Oftentimes we think of something like this as bad, but when you think about it, it's actually good because this is how change takes place. Because these contracts, they've probably been pushing these contracts for a long time. Even Candace Owen was talking about, that's exactly the same contract they gave me. I had to say, no, you're not touching my Twitter, so you can't have it. No, you can't have my Instagram. So she said she had to cancel a number of things, and she lost money in the process as she went down and edited certain things out of the contract. Well, she said, you can still do this based on her own admission. You can still do this in a way and not lose your gold, your personhood, your things, the way they give you that space working at Daily Wire. But despite what's happening, I have to admit, it would have been nice to see Steven Crowder with Daily Wire. Can I just admit that? That's something I would love to see because he brings something to the table that Daily Wire is lacking. That comedy, fun side, Matt Walsh is funny, but he's a dry humor kind of me, like I am. Steven Crowder is hilarious, but yet at the same time, you're getting truth bombs in your face. That guy is very special. I've come to appreciate him. I'm like, man, I love this guy. Daily Wire, they wish they could have this guy. He is special to the space. And I think it would be nice to see them working together, but nevertheless, being separate is not a bad thing either,
Yes, One Truth. I did see the Daily Wire video that Jeremy put out.
Yeah, Jeremy put out a video.
I watched the entire 54-minute video and
the whole thing was to justify the reason for the money.
And that's all he did.
That's all he did, but he wasn't understanding Steven Crowder. Steven Crowder has a vision for the country and the people that
the money.
He's not for the money so much. He has a vision to meet his followers and everything. Daily Wire is coming from a different angle. So that's kind of what
anyway. He explains it better than I can in the video. So
all right, let's keep going.
Personal. Obviously, when we released this video, we didn't name names, and I told you there are a lot of people in the space who have made offers, and it is true. There are quite a few, and there are some others that have been pretty similar to this. This isn't an incredibly unique scenario, but there have been some good people out there too, and we're still talking with them. So I do know that some people from Daily Wire have come out, maybe been instructed to. I have no idea. I don't care. And they've gotten very personal. I don't want to do that. At least I didn't want to. But now it's sort of necessary for me to do so. So these are the only personal things I will say about the people at Daily Wire. Andrew Klavan is one of my favorite people of all time. He has an unbelievable skill to make you feel like the smartest guy in the room, even though I guarantee you he's smarter than you. There are very few people whose company I enjoy more than Andrew Klavan. Jordan Peterson is not only a friend, I would go to the wall for him. He's a guy who has changed the landscape of our country for the better. Can't say enough good things about him. Ben Shapiro is possibly the smartest person I know. That's as personal as I'll get. Now, here's the thing. Only after that final call, after negotiations had followed through, pleading on the side of principle and knowing that it was completely met with deaf ears, did I come out like I did? See, here's the thing, Daily, they keep talking about a business. Well, I walked away from the table because I'm talking like it's about a country, about a movement. And this is the thing, the response that I've heard over the years, it's not just now. I've been doing this for a long time. You constantly hear, it's just business. It's just business. Well, guess what? It's not to me. Sure, I run a business, but it's not just business.
That's the question we're asking One Truth Media Company, is that, yeah, why didn't Crowder negotiate like Candace did? I wonder if he did try to do that.
Well, that's what he just said. He tried to negotiate with them, and that's what this whole phone call is about, and that's what this whole episode is. That's what this whole segment's about. Is he tried to negotiate with them, but it just fell on deaf ears. They just wanted to know how much money is he going to be able to make them.
Yeah, because according to Daily Wire, that was the largest contract they've ever put together for any content creator. So I'm guessing they were like already determined how they were gonna do things with Steven Crowder. I don't even think Steven Crowder could have based, like you said, I don't think he was even able to edit anything out of this contract.
And David, the thing is if he did that, then this stuff doesn't get called out, and nothing changes.
Yeah. Crowder could have easily said no and moved on. Yeah. I think what Crowder is also making a stand for, which he's going to say in a video, I'm glad you're here, David. I'm glad you're here, is that he is speaking for upcoming YouTubers or content creators, okay, who are gonna face similar contracts. I've heard another person commenting on this. I can partially agree. I said the way they put it is like Crowder could have gone to Daily Wire, right? Lose somewhat of his popularity and build back up. But when he comes out of there, he might be bigger than he was before.
Okay.
Oftentimes, that's what it takes to become big and famous and everything. But he will go back to the point that Crowder is making. It's not about the money for me. It wasn't about that. And for some people that will work, but for Crowder, it's like, I'm not signing on to that deal.
Yeah, which leads to One Truth Media's comment, which it is censoring him. Just because it doesn't sound like it's censoring him, it is censoring him.
Yeah.
It may not be directly censoring him, but it's indirectly censoring him to be YouTube friendly. Playing by their rules. He's been demonetized for 3 years because he doesn't play by YouTube rules.
That's the problem. Yeah, that man wants to be free, man. We just have to leave Steven Crowder alone. It's just Daily Wire can't touch this. It's just too much for Daily Wire to handle. Simple as that. All right. Wow.
And let me ask you, when have you ever heard someone say it's just business when they're doing the right thing? Ever hear someone give $250,000 to charity and say it's just business? And here's something that I would like to ask you, because I know that they've tried to play the identity politics and misrepresent the whole financial situation. But yeah, over the course of 4 or 5 years, the total operational budget, meaning 25, 30 employees, all of the costs, security, health insurance, would have been somewhere in the $50 million ballpark for that total operational budget. That is true. Okay. First off, I think it's a good thing for conservative companies out there to be generating or capable of generating far more than that. And it'd be better than just Disney and just Netflix and just Hulu Plus. And I'd like the people who are in charge of that to be people who are willing to walk away from that if it comes with strings attached, with people who hate everything you stand for. So let's take that at face value. Okay. I want you to ask yourself this question. Okay. Put yourself in my shoes.
Mm.
What would it take? How much do your principles matter to you? What kind of a headspace would you have to be in to walk away full stop from $50 million?
Ooh, boy, listen.
Let me ask you even.
Listen.
Yeah, replay that.
What kind of a headspace would you have to be in to walk away full stop from $50 million?
Listen, man. Very few people will walk away from that. Very few. But he's coming from a different angle. This guy is different, man. Okay, he's cut from another tree. He's not your average content creator. I've come to love him for that because my level of respect for him just went way up. Boy, you know how many people will compromise their view? I mean, people will sell. They will sell out for a cheaper price. But again, that's a big question, man. I mean, he's not done yet. Listen to what he says.
Let me ask you even further. What would it take for you to be willing to walk away from at least $50 million because of it causing harm to someone else that doesn't even affect you?
Wow.
But the next kid. I've talked about this. You know, you have it in comedy. I'm never going to be the guy who pulls the ladder up after me. What motivates me is not money. Of course, everyone here likes nice things. They want to make a living. You've heard me say this many times. I want to pass the torch.
Wow. Yeah, that is this has to be the most Christian things I've ever heard in such a long time.
Here's a t-shirt idea for you. Principles over paycheck.
I like that. Wow, that was great. Wow. I mean, he looks so genuine, though. I can't say he's not lying. He's so honest.
He's not. He is. He said it multiple times. Even on the Blaze, he's said this multiple times.
Wow. You know, God is gonna bless Steven Crowder's show like never before, right? I know he's already blessing it abundantly. He's gonna see tremendous growth.
Well,
I'm sure of it. That's a bold stand for him to take right here.
Yeah, I hope so.
Here likes nice things. They want to make a living. You've heard me say this many times. I want to pass the torch. I want there to be someone else to do this. It can't happen if this is how our movement is structured. And you know that, by the way, this could do irreparable damage to the movement, the country, and the people who've fought so hard for the ground gained if we've decided to get in bed with these people who want to strip it away. I'm asking, would you walk away? What would it take for you to walk away from $50 million? Because it's true. That's exactly what I did. It's exactly what I'm doing. And so long as these contracts out there include enforcement of big tech, of punishing conservative creators on behalf of the people we claim to fight and the people who have long since demonetized us and can't stand me, and part of me doesn't blame them. As long as these contracts include that, not even for me, but the next person, I wouldn't take $1 billion.
Wait. Darth Vader. Come on, let's be honest. Listen, we don't have to be money hungry here. But would you take $1 billion? $1 billion
to compromise my principles?
To compromise not your principles. To compromise your way of running your show?
No.
You wouldn't do it?
No.
Good, man of standard. I want
to and that's what I want to address is one truth. You're missing the point. Is he did try to negotiate with them, but he wasn't negotiating on his behalf. He was negotiating on other people's behalf.
But oh man, that is a good one. That is a bold statement to make. Unfortunately, a lot of people will compromise for
for far less.
I mean, listen, people compromise for no money. Like, for example, you got people paying Disney money, right? And Disney says, I'm standing for these values, right? And I'm doing things to support the LGBT community. And we have Christians putting their money toward Disney and watching the movies of Disney that are very clearly contradict their biblical views. So which goes to show $1 billion, you know what people will do for that? You know how many rappers compromise their Christian views, their values, their morale in the name of becoming popular and rich? So Steven Crowder's statement here is so strong. I'm not saying I will compromise because I don't know. Because for me, I'm one of those guys who's like, when I'm in that situation, I'll know. But I'm not. So I would say, Lord, please don't tempt me. because you just don't know human nature, the circumstance you might be in. You just don't know. But this man, listen, he's got a plan. Obviously,
he's got integrity.
Yeah, he's got integrity. He has a vision. He has a purpose in mind, and nothing is gonna get in my way, not even money. And I will to say, I give him a lot of props for that. That's rare, boy. You're not gonna find too many of this type. I'm telling you, that is a rare type right here.
These contracts include that, not even for me, but the next person. I wouldn't take $1 billion.
Wow.
And certainly not if you understand in context, when behind closed doors, I know, and these people know, and acknowledge exactly what's being done to the next generation of creators.
Bench talent, young talent, they don't get deals like this.
So they don't get deals that...
They can be wage slaves for a little bit, come over and make a salary and grow their brand.
Whoa. Did you hear? Play that back. Did you hear what he just said?
No, he didn't.
And one truth. This is what I'm saying. He recorded the phone call that he had negotiating.
That is crazy.
They don't get deals like this.
So they don't get deals that...
They can be wage slaves for a little bit.
Wait. There's truth in that, though, from a business perspective. You go in, you work as a slave, and you rise above, right? So it's one of those things. You must go down before you can get up, kind of thing. But I just don't like the language of wage slave. Just me.
Hey, I mean,
but it's true though. He's not lying. What he says here, that's how every majority of these businesses are run.
Yeah.
The music industry runs like this. You know, you become a
music
water boy.
industry, the video industry, every industry. That's how they look at their employees.
But the issue Steven Crowder is having as conservatives who are fighting against big tech and all their, diabolical or draconian laws that they are making, we shouldn't be doing things the way that they are. But these guys are not budging. They've been doing this for way too long. I don't think they're gonna change their minds overnight.
And I don't think Steven is either. Because he's got a set path in mind. He knows what he wants, and
wow,
God help him, he's going to find a way to make it happen.
Wow, I can't believe he just said that.
Like this,
so they don't get deals that...
They can be wage slaves for a little bit, come over and make a salary and grow their brand.
That you then own.
Well, I own parts of it. I don't own it. They can, when their contract's up, they can still go out and they'll still be famous. They can keep doing their shows, so go do a show somewhere else. They'll be in a far, far, far better place. You help to make them.
No, not long as this contract. This contract owns it in perpetuity even after the contract. You're paying a lease but getting ownership. That's what this contract is.
On the content that we paid to produce, yes.
Pause.
Wow, Well, that's just the way it works. On the content that...
No. If you actually look at the contract that he had, they own the rights and merchandise and everything.
Even after it lapses?
Even after you leave. So if you were to try to take your show somewhere else, you would have to completely rebrand.
You serious?
Yeah.
But
Rokita,
they own it. They own it.
Rokita.
They own it during the period of the contract.
Yes.
That's what my thinking
No,
is.
you don't own anything. They own it.
No, they own your brand as long as they're paying
No,
you to
even
work
after
for them within the in Stephen case, for example,
the way
4
the
years,
way
$50 million.
the way the contract is set up and the way it's worded, they own it even after you leave.
Oh, let me listen. I need to hear that again. That is deadly.
Far, far, far better place. You helped make them.
No, not long as this contract. This contract owns it in perpetuity even after the contract. You're paying a lease but getting ownership. That's what this contract reads.
On the content that we paid to produce, yes.
You know, look, I understand there are going to be differing opinions on this. I understand.
So according to Jeremy, is the content that we... So is he lying about what's in the contract?
Yes.
Okay.
Because Rokita actually did a full breakdown of everything Steven showed in the first video. Like, he actually pauses when he does a screenshot of the contract parts and does a breakdown of the contract of blah, 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 X company, blah, 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 and da, 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 da. And he explains what each of those means. He did it in a live stream.
Can you send that to me? I think it would only be fair that Steven Crowder should put that contract out for the public to see. I'm not sure if this would be a violation of any kind of relation with Daily Wire, but I'm not, since you already shown a portion of it. But nevertheless, just to establish context of what's happening here in the discussion.
And when he broke it down, he explained that even after you leave Daily Wire, they still own everything that you produced at Daily Wire and anything Daily Wire related.
Wow. That's some scary thoughts. Anyway.
So your show, anything that you had produced there or anything that, like, so say I were to come up with a show called The Dark Side, right? And I went to the Daily Wire to produce it, right? And I signed that contract. They own that. They own the merchandise for it. They own all rights to it. And if I were to leave, I couldn't use that name again on social media, on any new show, on any merchandise, on anything.
Now, so losing the brand, losing your name, almost selling out your entire company to a much bigger one. It's like a monopoly. I get it. Yeah. So in essence, what Steven Crowder will get in return is like a trade. You will get a larger crowd. Popularity, right? Is
one truth you got to understand, Jeremy is the CEO. He isn't telling the truth here, and that's what Steven Crowder's so pissed about.
Wow. All right, let's keep going. Let's bring it to an end.
As someone who does run a business and has I think maybe 25 employees, I don't know, we're expanding. I understand people run businesses differently and have different priorities. Here's the thing. I would genuinely still, Daily Wire, Jeremy, love to sit down at the table and explain to you how you can make all of this work, how you can scale what we do and not have to be beholden to the people who we all go out and claim that we're fighting, and especially with all of the financial resources that you have, which, by the way, are very impressive.
Yeah, I would like to hear what model he uses for that, because that I wish I could hear how he runs his own business to make things happen on that
level.
Yeah, because that's rare. Because most businesses we depend so much on these ad revenues, right? But they're the same one who are pushing big tech to censor speech. So it's like they pay you the money, but they also control the narrative.
Yep.
and therefore they can control your speech. And if, hey man, if you're getting paid from the guy who pays you the money definitely has the power to determine what you say and how you say it. So it's not like YouTube is going after your speech. It's not Twitter. It's not really no. It's advertisers who are driven politically in certain direction, who have their woke mentality, who are saying, I don't agree with my ad over certain videos if they have that. And then Twitter push it down on us. And content creators suffer for that. And this is why I have to say this. When you support a channel like Louder with Crowder, Steven Crowder stuff, you financially sponsor them. That's the best way to go bypass these guys that are controlling what's happening. It's like going directly to the people is crucial. It's like when you support my channel, even when you do it through YouTube, even though I lose, but it's one of the reasons why I can still do what I do is because you guys are supporting our channel. And Darth Vader, you've been with us for months. I think the longest supporter we have is you and also Megan. It's like people who are doing this for us. You have to understand the YouTube space and the way this stuff works out. When you give a content creator, for example, $5, out of that $5, we might get $2. By the time everything is stripped, you pay for the platform, you pay for Apple, you pay for the screen, you pay for the time. Like, this stuff is not that simple as you guys think. And also, if the video gets a strike, we lose the entire $5. So out of all this time I'm spending here, if one of our videos that we just talked about get a copyright, the entire thing is gone. The views means nothing. So in other words, these advertisers are really controlling what goes on in this space. And this is why you got to understand content creator business, it's a sacrificing business, man. Like if you're doing this for the money, you're in it for the wrong purpose, because I realize that's why I keep my 9-to-5 job. I'm not quitting and going full time doing this, because I know I'm staying in school. I'm gonna go finish my degree. I'm not playing, because I realize this business, the next day you can be canceled on every platforms and you go sit in a corner. It's that simple to lose it. It happens to Sickle. It happens to so many others. You know, don't get me started. So I'm just saying, guys, supporting content creators that you love for what they do is crucial. That's one of the ways you can bypass some of this stuff that Steven Crowder is talking about. And he understands this, though. He understands this. But I still want to know what model is he referring to? How does he run his business to make it work and not have to bow the knees to these ad revenues and advertisers and so on? Still would like to know.
All of the financial resources that you have, which, by the way, are very impressive. And by the way, since fielding requests for people who've sent this in who you guys are under these kinds of contracts, right? You've sent in your emails. If you're looking to either join a network or looking to navigate these contracts, we've been flooded. I'm going to try and get to all of you. But here's the thing. Let me give you my word right now.
Okay. One truth media said, that's kind of funny how Steven is saying, let me show you how to run a business, Jeremy, when Jeremy business is 20 times bigger. Okay. It is. Does that mean Steven Crowder's business and what he knows are insignificant, though? I don't necessarily understand the nature of your statement here. Daily Wire is big, which is great. That doesn't mean Daily Wire's way of running the business is good.
Bigger doesn't mean better.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like you can easily make the argument like, are you saying TD Jakes and Joel Osteen's big mega churches are better than the church down the block? Some people will say, well, that is better because they're so big. But it's not about how big they are. It's how much compromisation is happening there. How much
corruption.
How much corruption, false gospel, how many women are being abused, how many things you don't know, how much money is being these pastors are living the kind of life they're not supposed to be living and stuff. You know, so you can easily challenge that by saying because it's bigger doesn't necessarily mean the business model is better.
Better.
Yeah, you know, so it's like I don't know if that's a good way to look at things. You have to look at beyond that. You have to look at principles and different things as well. I mean, you're not wrong in that statement, generally speaking, but when you're looking at specifics and what Stephen Carter is saying here, I don't know if that's a good fit.
And don't get me wrong, One Truth. I like both too.
Yeah, I love both.
I'm not trying to trash either one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that the contracts that they're giving out to people, like Steve, I'm with Steven on this, is the contracts that they're giving out to people are complete garbage.
It's too much. They're using big tech reason and talking points to punish conservatives. It is a punishment.
They're content creators.
Yeah, they're content creators. That's not okay. That's not okay. And I agree with Stephen Carter on this space as well. Even though I understand it's all about the ads and everything else. It's like it shouldn't be about the money though. It should be about we are looking to make a difference in this country as a whole.
I mean, number one, we're in a spiritual battle. Number two, we're in a culture war.
Yes.
We need, in order to change that, we can't be bickering over money.
Yeah. Wow. Anyway, appreciate your comment though.
My word. Everyone, you can timestamp it, call me on it. Here at Mug Club, we will never take any ownership over your social media platforms or your channels, and I don't want a dime ever of your YouTube revenue. You make your own decision as to whether you want to be monetized or not. Some people want to, some people don't.
I want to hear what he's. Let me hear that again.
But here's the thing. Let me give you my word right now. My word. Everyone, you can timestamp it, call me on it. Here at Mug Club, we will never take any ownership over your social media platforms or your channels.
Okay, what is Mug Club? I've heard it a lot. Is this?
That's his subscription-based viewership.
Okay.
I am a member of Mug Club.
Okay. I need to become one. Okay. I like that.
And I don't want a dime ever of your YouTube revenue. You make your own decision as to whether you want to be monetized or not. Some people want to, some people don't. I just have a problem with requiring that you do and penalizing you if you don't. And to Daily Wire, to the rest of the people out there, give me a call. And look, let me put it this way. If you give me your word, this is all that matters here. Just give me your word that there will never be a clause in a contract again for some unsuspecting kid or someone who doesn't have the luxury to walk away from $50 million, as I did, true, guilty as charged. Give me your word that you will not penalize them 25% for demonetization, another 20% for a strike, another 20% for Facebook, Spotify, Apple, up to 80%. Just give me your word that clause, that spirit will not be in any contract sent out to anyone else who's at the front lines fighting for this country. And we're done. All of this stops right now. You will never hear from me again. I will go out.
Man, that is a big appeal. It's hard for them to give you a word on that. They've built their foundation on this, and it's kind of difficult for them to say, these contracts are not new. Candace only spoke about that. This has been going on.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's going to this is good because Daily Wire is going to have to check themselves. I'm sure they've lost some subscriptions. Some people sign out and say, no more Daily Wire. I'm sure that happened. Stephen Crowder's way of protesting this is going to bring about a positive change, but I still don't know how far that's going to reach. And I'm not sure that appeal is going to make a difference. Because it seems like they are so big already that
I mean, this is kind of like a shot across the bow.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a warning shot, like,
Yeah.
You need to reevaluate where you're at.
Yeah. From that angle, I agree. Yeah. Wow.
All of this stops right now. You will never hear from me again. I will go out and sing your praises. You can pick up the phone. You have my word. That's all it is. That's all this is about. In the interim, to everyone else, stopbigcon.com. Be a signatory. I'll see you Monday. Tim Pool.
We got a cash jab on temple. Guys, it's been a great day today. We've hung out with you and we spent some really good times together. And Darth Vader,
I sent you that
so
video.
thank you so much for doing that. Final thought on that?
I think Steven is a really stand-up guy, and he's looking out for the next generation of content creators, and we should all support him in that.
That's great. For those of you who put in your final comments, we want to read about 2 or 3 comments before we end this stream here. I also think Steven Crowder is doing something that is full of integrity here. He's making a moral stand, by the way. This is very Christian of him to even do that. And the appeal that he makes at the end, that is, I'm hoping and praying that the Daily Wire will do things differently. And at the same time, I want to say I'm not choosing side here. I think both Daily Wire and Steven Crowder, they're very special. I think they are very gifted. I mean, Steven Crowder brings something that the Daily Wire does not. The Daily Wire and their cast, they are just great, man. I mean, what is a woman? Is the Black Lives Matter movie, the greatest lie ever sold by Candace Owens stuff. I mean, who else is doing that in a space of conservatives and on these networks? But nevertheless, I would like to see positive change being made. However, but I want to say I respect both parties. I don't think Daily Wire is bad as a result of this. I just think that they need to make some changes, to their contract.
I think there's going to be growing pains for both.
Yep. Oh, that's my thought on that. That was great. Wow. That was really great, man. So, one thing that stood out to me, Darth Vader, is how bold Steven Crowder make a stand. Some people will say, man, it's kind of immature. You went out there and went after Daily Wire. It's like, if you don't take a stand, like we said earlier, right? If you don't
stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
You fall for anything. You got to make a stand about something every now and then. There was this minister that did something, and I have to say, when he did it, I was actually upset. He was preaching at a church, grew the church, found ways to bring people to the church, but he was under a conference. And under the conference, you're supposed to be helped financially as well. But the conference was not really doing that much of a job. The man says, I'm worth more than that. I'm working hard. I deserve better. But they're like, no, we're just going to give you bottom dollar kind of thing, So he protested. He says, until a change is made, I will not stand on this pulpit, right? And he stepped out. And I said, man, my first thought was like, why would you abandon the flock, man? Why would you do something like that's crazy? You're supposed to sign on to the deal and do the thing that you're supposed to be doing. That was my initial thought. Little did I know, not only the position that he took by protesting has gotten him double the amount of what he was asking for and brought about serious change in the conference. Anyway, I say that to say this. I don't go after the man because he's saying something I may not fully agree with. But what Steven Crowder is doing here is a good thing for the conservative space as a whole. We have to look at ourselves and say, from this point forward, we can't do this anymore. I mean, the CEOs are going to have to sit back and take a look at things and, they're going to have to sit back and say, you know what, guys?
Maybe there's a better way to do things.
He's got a point. He's got a point. And we can't, so I'm hoping that's what happens with this. I'm not sure, but it will be good. It'll be good to see. It'll be good to see. So where do you guys stand? Where do you guys stand when it comes to that? Anyway, guys, we can end this video right here. I got a few things that I need to run. I have my father here with me as well. I got to go get a few things and get ready.
Thank you all for joining us.
Thank you so much for hanging out, Darth Vader. Thank you so very much, man. He's been 3 hours.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. We spent a good time together. We got some good videos coming out. So thank you for those of you who commented. One Truth Media, thank you so much for your comments as well. Ella Wizzy. Ella Wizzy. Yeah, both are needed. I think we don't need to lump them together. I think having them separated is even better.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think it's even better. Yeah, because they bring something to the table. Each bring something to the table that the others don't. Yeah, that is great. That's called the Blexit. Keep them divided. All right. Well, guys, I would like to pray with you and for you, if you don't mind. Yeah, if there's one thing I could learn from this, stand for what you believe, man. Stand for your position. Stand firm. Don't change and compromise your view, especially when you have a vision and a dream in mind. Don't let that die. And don't sacrifice your visions and your dreams for money. Don't do it. Don't do it. Because he's thinking long term. There is that instant gratification and there is that long term goal. You have to think long term. A lot of time you can
Even
get
God said, "Be in the world, but be not of it."
being out of the world. Yeah, absolutely. All right. I would like to pray with you and for you and end this video right here. My wife and I might be on a live stream tonight again. So look out for us. We're planning on coming back on. So
Mhm.
that's in the making. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, thank you so very much for the time we spent together today, Father, talking about these matters. Much more could be said, but Lord, we want to pause. We don't want to talk about these matters as a mean of gossip, for clicks, for views. This is a serious matter that involves the lives of many people, Father. We're asking for both the Daily Wire and Stephen Crowder to come together to figure out the differences and for a change to take place in that space in a positive way.
Yes.
Father, I also pray for the conservative movement, Father, that you will help us to know what it means to be conservative much more. For those of us who are Christian, to be Christians.
Hmm.
And while we do not compromise our views and position, we don't become naive in the process, allowing the enemy to trample all over us.
Yes.
Father, I also pray for those who are watching right now and those who are in a common space, those who are sharing their thought and perspective, that you will minister to them as well. You know their situation, Father. You know what they are facing in their lives. And I'm asking you, Heavenly Father, to intervene on their behalf and say something on their behalf, Lord, and move mountains, oh God. If there's any barriers or any chains or any gates that are closed up, I pray that you will kick them open. You will set the captives free. And Father, I also pray that you will bless my friend Darth Vader, bless his family and his daughter, and continue to bless his lovely wife as well, and watch over him as a man who's a father, a husband, and many more things that he is doing, sponsoring things he's standing for. Thank you for the wisdom you've given him, and thank you for connecting me to him as well. I pray that you will help us to see ourselves through the eyes of Stephen Crowder. When we have a vision in mind, a goal in mind, we do not sacrifice our position for money, for popularity, for gain. Help us to be true to purpose, hold firm to our integrity, no matter what comes our way.
Hmm.
It is in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right. Thank you so very much. God bless you all.
God bless. Love you.
Love yous. Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye. See you, Darth Vader.